But I
there
think
we go.
we're
It's
on.
working. Sorry, he hit live, and I was like, I don't think we have the, because I was like, where's the mics? Where's the mics? Here we are. Are you on?
Sometimes the technology can be quite complicated. We had a bit of a fail. What happens is that the camera system that we use, they keep updating their software, and then every time they update, you have to reset up things. Anyway, hopefully it's working.
Did you go to Patreon? We want to say hi to everybody. I know some of you are watching this live, and then some of you will be watching this a little bit later. But do you want to also go to Patreon just to see if there's any questions there? But yeah, I will. Oh, good, Paula. Nice to see you. Paula just did my yoga. So Paula did. We did. That was a. Did you like that?
She's changed, Paula. You can see.
But the meditation, it was one of my favorite meditations. So I was really happy with that, to do that for everybody. I thought it was a nice way, Paula, to end kind of January. So yeah. So and it was just lovely to see you on there and lovely to see you here. I mean, I definitely know. So I would go into both of these just to make sure that there's not any questions. Okay, yeah, there we go. There's some questions. Okay. I do think that we want to talk about the pool. I think that's first and foremost because that video came out, and we're so happy that so many of you enjoyed the video that we just released, which was about our story so far, which kind of shows you everything that we had done when we moved in. So the pipes, huge project, which was massive. The heating, massive project. The road, and then of course the renovations of many, many bedrooms, ensuite bathrooms, and the big one was the Coach House Cafe, which is obviously our event space as well. So, so hopefully that gave you.
We've got a hello from Parik.
Oh, Parik, hey!
Parik
yes, says it's good working.
On Patreon, and then we've got
Nina from my home state, Illinois. Brilliant. We've got Laura from Oradell, New Jersey.
Laurie, it sounds like you've been hit by a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, we've been
Crazy.
reading about that. You know, we hardly ever get snow in Mapperton, which is a great sadness because whilst we don't want the amount of snow that you probably got at the moment, it would be nice to have a decent dusting once in a while.
Well, for the Chicagoan in me, it would be really nice. I mean, I grew up in snow like many of you, from basically November until March. It's just you went to school in snow every day.
Well,
lots of it.
The lovely thing about Mapperton is we've got lots of hills, which are great for tobogganing. I say tobogganing, you say sledging, or the other way around?
No, we have toboggans and we have sleds.
Okay.
So we have both of them.
Okay.
So they're two different things.
They're different things. Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
So also decided Jennifer, who's here from Los Angeles. We've got, oh my gosh, amazing. Lori's here from Germany. Laura says only about 7 inches. Yeah, that would just shut down this country.
Judy always laughs whenever it snows here because everything does close down for kind of 3 centimeters.
Like that much. And kids, my kids have had snow days here. Not that many, but it would be like that much. And they'd be like, oh my gosh, it's a snow day. And I'm like, all right, well, let's try to build a snowman in this snow of like 1 centimeter. Hi to Lorraine from the Seattle area. Remember to alternate between this and Patreon as well.
And you've got Jennifer.
And I'd go to the live one too. Sorry, I'm being super bossy.
You got Jennifer as well. So hi to Jennifer and hi to
Laurie.
I said. Have you said hello to them? Well, I'm just saying hello to them.
We'll go back to the.
So we got Parik on.
Okay,
on
great. That's
here.
what we want. Perfect.
And we had a couple of questions from Penny who can't make it this evening. But please, if you've got questions, please put them in the chat and we'll like I said, I think
what we're going to talk about today is pretty much about the pool. So it's obviously it aired for you guys last week. It aired last night on YouTube, and it's really been kind of the star of our series without us knowing it. But I think for me, it's really, really exciting. And we just firstly want to say thank you to you and your support because of your support, we're able to start the repairs of the pool, which you can see are quite extensive. I mean, it's a big project, and it's not. He's really kind. Luke's really kind, saying, "Oh, it's to get Julie back swimming," but it is a feature, of course, of the gardens, and people come to view those pools, both that pool and the lily pool, and so it is a feature, and we have to get it done.
But I think that today, and Julie doesn't know this, so you'll see her response live on air. I've come to a conclusion about the pool and how we should do it. So,
okay. Well, you've made this decision without me.
We haven't discussed this at all, and it's not that I've made the decision. It's that I think it's a really good idea, and I'm certain you'll agree with me. So it's kind of like I've made the decision because I know you'll agree. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what is the decision that you've kind of made that you say I'm going to agree about?
So we had a lovely message today from somebody who had watched the pool video on YouTube, and it was forwarded to us. And
I think I got that.
Did you get a copy of that email?
I don't think so.
Anyway, it was from somebody else who watches Mapperton Live and sent a message to Mapperton from the website.
I definitely didn't get that. You see, I'm not in that email.
And you're not in that email, are you? Okay, so she came up with the name of an expert for natural pools. And it's not just any old natural pools, it's do-it-yourself natural pools. In other words, we could do this ourselves with some help from Susie and the team, but I think that we're going to make a decision not to go down the chlorination route.
Well, no, I know that.
No, you didn't know that.
Oh.
Because that was the route we were going down.
See?
So, and to go down the natural pool route, and it turns out that there is a YouTuber, and I can give his name, he's called David Pagan Butler, and he has 66,000 YouTube subscribers for his pool channel, which is all about natural pools.
And where is he based?
And he's based in the UK.
No.
Yeah.
What?
So it might be a really good idea to reach out to David and see if he wants to come and visit us and do a kind of joint thing together. And he can give us some advice.
Have you reached out to him yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah. Why didn't you forward me that detail?
You should get really
Can you forward that to me right now?
What I did forward you was the printout.
I saw that.
He has a sort of guide for how to create a natural pool.
He sent me this printout this morning, and it was like this PDF for DIY pools, but I didn't really know it. He didn't put a message on it. He just sort of forwarded it to me. Oh my goodness.
So anyway, that is the plan with the pool. I think that this year, by the way, we hope to make a start on that. But the critical thing that we are getting going with right now is the actual sealing of the mortar and the leaks that we have coming both into the pool and out of the pool. Isn't it bizarre? That
that's a big project.
We have leaks coming in.
You saw that.
And we have leaks going out. I mean, it's crazy.
Even when we were with Andy, you could see on screen some of the big leaks that Luke tried to, joking around with plug. But when we went around with Andy, he could feel where other leaks could be coming soon. So he could feel how it wasn't very secure, and that needed to be, so it wasn't a leak yet, but there were several places in the pool that it was quite soft, that it could also come out as well. So we went around and felt with our hands, Andy and I.
Okay.
So yeah. Okay. So there's just there's a lot to do.
So
wow,
anyway,
DIY.
That's where we are on the pool. Right, we've got a few more people who've joined us. We've got Sally. I don't think we've said hello to
Sally. Oh, hi, Sally. Lorraine. Did we say hi to Lorraine? Hi, Lorraine. Maybe we did.
I think we did. If we didn't, hi.
Christy from Pittsburgh.
Laura, we've said hi to.
Yeah.
She's got a question. Okay, we've got another couple of questions here. So maybe I shall answer that one from Laura. Now, Laura, it's funny that you gave us that question, because actually Penny put up a very similar question to do with inheritance and primogeniture. So for those of you who are not accustomed to this rather odd word, primogeniture, it simply means in this country the right of the firstborn, usually the male, to inherit. And this is the way that English estates have managed to stay together over all these centuries, unlike, for example, French estates, where the Napoleonic Code came in, and it meant that quite fairly, when there was an inheritance of an estate, it was divided equally among the children. But in the case of the UK, we have a lot of very ancient trusts that were set up a long time ago, which are called entail male trusts. An entail male simply means that it goes down the oldest son bloodline. Now,
I had to really get my head around that when I first
that of course is on the one hand a deeply unfair system. I say on the one hand because there are certain things that one has to take into account. The reason it's unfair, obviously, is because it is picking the oldest male as the person who's going to inherit. What about the women? What about the younger males? Not to mention people in between.
Right.
And, these days, it seems very anachronistic that we would have a system like this. And you're probably aware, or you may be aware, that with the royal family, they have changed the rules of inheritance such that it is the oldest child, whether male or female. And there is now a movement among the aristocracy being led by a particularly energetic and able person.
Yeah, amazing.
I won't give her name.
No.
To try and get the rules changed for aristocratic families that have these ancient trusts.
So that it can be either the male or the female.
But to me, that still doesn't solve the problem, because why should it be the oldest? Now, in some families that we know, somebody has taken a decision to remove all of the estate and the chattels and the buildings, the works of art, out of the trust and put it into a new type of trust, so it no longer goes down the male line, where the trustees have a responsibility to select the most able person from the next generation.
Because all of these estates also have trustees, so we have trustees as well.
Yes, well, if you have a trust, you have to have trustees. So the trustees in the case that I'm talking about here, oh dear, one of our lights has gone out, but hopefully
I can fix it. Carry on.
Yeah.
I'll fix it.
Well, wait, no, because you don't. I just replaced the battery.
No, but I know it's the other one. Okay, carry on, because it's really interesting.
And so what they did was to appoint trustees who then had this responsibility. And essentially, if you are a child of the next generation, you can then apply to be the one who is chosen to be the custodian. And then you have, in some cases, you give a kind of presentation, or they choose you. And in fact, I've been invited to become a trustee of one of these sorts of setups. And I can see how there are certain advantages to that, not least that you get the most appropriate person. Now, the problem with the Napoleonic Code and the division between all the children, of course, is that it divides up the estate every single time there's an inheritance. So if you've got 3 children, each owns a third, each of those children have 3 children, then it gets down to a 9th, each of those have 3 children, a 27th, and you can see how within 3 or 4 generations the amount that is left is very, very small, which means that these estates largely in France haven't stayed together. The house sometimes stays with one member of the family, but often they've lost all of their land and they've lost their furniture and their pictures.
So I have a question about that. So let's say that the aristocrats, the aristocratic families who have estates and titles, like all of a sudden change the law so that it goes to the firstborn, whether it's a male or a female. What happens to the title?
Well, that is another interesting point. And in fact, Sally here has asked a similar question. Does the title and the property follow different rules? So the answer to that is that the title, in the case of the royal family, will go to the oldest child, whether male or female. In those other situations, the title doesn't change. It still goes down the male entail, so it goes down the male line.
Right. So, okay.
Now, you're going to carry on talking for a second, because I think that I've heard one of our children ring the doorbell.
I know.
And I better let him in.
So, sorry, there's a lot going on. So really good questions, everybody, really good questions. So I think to answer that, and then when you asked, do siblings still have the ability to participate even informally? Yes, absolutely. Luke's sister in particular is very involved informally as well. But, it's really up to them if they want to be involved informally. So yes, they can be involved, but it would be informally. Luckily, we have Jemima, Luke's sister, who does want to stay involved, and that really helps us a lot. Sally said, but it sets siblings against each other, or at least it could.
It does.
It does.
It does, and
that's the sad thing.
That is a problem. I mean, there is no easy system, but I think probably the best way to do it is to keep everything in trust. So at least the collection and the house and the estate are all held together.
It doesn't get sold off.
And that there's an insistence on the kind of integrity of that, irrespective of who it goes to. Because the moment you've lost that, then bits get sold. Having said that, of course, the other problem is taxation. So every time there is, in this country, a change or a handover or an inheritance, we have very high inheritance tax at about 40%, and then very high capital gains tax as well. So that is part of the reason that so many of these places, including Mapperton and Hinchingbrook, have dwindled very significantly over the years, is because we've had to pay multiple inheritance taxes. And some families have been incredibly unlucky. I know of one where they had 3 lots of inheritance tax within 10 years to pay. So 40% on top of 40% on top of 40%.
It's impossible. Then it's almost impossible to keep them, in the family. You just sort of throw in the towel.
But we do have another system here, which is worth mentioning, called conditional exemption, which is a taxation system that allows families that have historic properties and collections to enter into an arrangement with the government that says, on condition that we make available for access to the public these buildings and these items of these works of art, then the tax doesn't need to be paid. But the moment you stop
on the death,
but the moment you stop making access available, and in fact that's the situation that we have at Mapperton, where on my grandfather's death we entered into this conditional exemption arrangement, which means that by law, by agreement, we have to open the house to the public. We have to allow, and we have to maintain these buildings. And in fact, that's one of the things I haven't spoken about more, but one of the reasons that it can be so onerous running these places is because you're constantly trying to keep things in a good state of repair, because there's the risk that if you don't, the taxman's going to knock on the door and say, we're coming to charge you 40%.
Right, because you've left
you certainly feel that pressure.
Estate. Yeah, definitely. If the firstborn is not interested, does the estate pass on to the next sibling or next male?
Well, that can get really complicated.
Because technically it can't.
So technically it can't. But the firstborn can come to an arrangement, and the firstborn can, he can give up his life interest, at which point it would then go to the next person. But the firstborn would normally be thinking, am I going to have children? Because if I give up my life interest, I don't want it to go to a cousin. I might want it to go to my son
or
who's
daughter.
Son at the
son.
moment.
Yeah. Yeah, really good questions.
It's
complicated. I still have to try to understand. Like, it's very hard for me to understand it, and I've been over here for 21 years, and I have to get my head around it. It's really, really mind-boggling in one sense.
We've got Nina with another really good question. So the question is that we have the titles Viscount and Viscountess Hinchingbrook, but we no longer live there. We live at Mapperton. Can they be changed to Mapperton? No, that's not. The reason for that is that when these titles are granted, and these ones were granted back in the 1660s, the titles are given. You get, in the case of the first Earl of Sandwich, he was given 3 sets of titles: Earl of Sandwich, Viscount Hinchingbrook,
named after his house,
and Baron of St Neots. St Neots is a town near Hinchingbrook as well. and those titles are all his, but by tradition, the oldest son gets to use what's called the courtesy title, which is one of his titles. So in the case of our family, that's why I get to use the title Viscount Hinchingbrook, because it's one of my father's titles, which he has, I suppose, lent to me. Now, that doesn't mean that my son gets to call himself Baron of St. Neots, and I don't really understand why not.
Well,
so
could
the hierarchy
your
is
dad
Baron,
lend it to him?
Viscount, Earl. Do you know what, William, I don't think would want
No,
it.
he wouldn't want it. I was
He
just
wouldn't
curious.
want
I was
it.
using that as an example. I've never even thought about that.
Yeah.
So no, we can't change it. Jennifer, really good question, and there is news on the Mapperton online shop.
Well, the Mapperton online shop is in the process of being developed. It hasn't launched yet.
No, but there's news on it. That's good.
I keep trying to make Julie feel responsible for this. But
No. Charlotte is doing. We've looked at some software for it.
Well, essentially, what we're waiting for now is we've got a new drawing being done of watercolor of Mapperton, and we're going to use that new watercolor to create a new range of branded content. And I'm hoping that, in fact, I should have received this weekend the final version of the drawing, which we will share with all of you.
Yep, we'll share it.
And those who are Gainsborough patrons get a limited edition print of the drawing as part of their membership. But we will also be using that drawing for tea towels.
So you'll get another tea towel. Those of you in the top 3 tiers, I think it is, tea towels are, yes.
Yeah, well, new patrons will get the tea towel.
And also, what we're going to do is when the new tea towels come out, we will say, new patrons, you'll get them obviously 3 months, and those of you who have been with us for
we'll probably end up being very generous with tea towels.
That light just doesn't work. Yeah, so we'll be able to, as long as you've had 3 months with us, we'll be able to
but
send
more
you
than
out a
tea towels, there's a range of other things that we want to do as well. Magnets, we probably will have mugs that we'll sell in the shop, but we may also have other things that are branded too.
Yeah, exactly.
Including possibly sort of notepads and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So it's happening, Jennifer. Like the ball is rolling. Wait, no. Somebody's just asked.
There's another question here from Penny.
Oh.
Do you need to do anything special to preserve artifacts like what's in the library or pictures? I'm wondering about room temperature and other ways modern historic house owners might need to treat those items separately. So yes is the answer to that. The key thing is obviously the storage conditions for everything at Mapperton. One of the reasons Mapperton is cold is because it's deliberately cold, because we don't want it to be too warm, because the warmer it gets, the more likely we are to have attacks of different types of pests that will eat the furniture, eat the artifacts, eat the books in the library. And so we try to keep it at a maximum of about 16 degrees centigrade, which is
I don't know, but it's cold.
67
But
degrees.
I don't think it's 16 though, is it? When we go into, I thought it was more like 18.
She doesn't know, but I've actually switched the thermometer down. She thought it was 18, but it's gone there. And I, it shouldn't really be more than that. But actually, the temperature is less important than the humidity. The humidity wants to be under about 50%.
I think it always is, isn't it?
Well, it depends which room you're in. So some of the rooms have no real foundation, so they've just they're sitting on moist earth, so the moisture comes through more easily. Right. Others have cellars beneath them where some of that moisture is taken out.
Yeah.
So different rooms have different humidity levels, and that's one of the key things. Is each room has a humidity meter in it, which I wander around and look at from time to time. Not that there's very much I can do to control it, other than bring in a.
We should show that. We should show you.
Yeah,
where the humidity.
Should, shouldn't we?
Where
there's quite a lot to think about, isn't there?
Yeah.
These things.
Jennifer, thanks. 16 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius
60.
is 60 degrees Fahrenheit.
So
that's why I'm always cold there.
Is it really that cold? I thought it was a bit more than that, but now it's probably. I'm sure that's right. Yeah. Can't hear us very much.
I think you've got to, when you speak, you need to put the mic.
June, is that better? Hopefully it's better. So other things that we need to think about with the collection are restoration. So and this is the job that really requires a lot of thought and planning. And to be honest, we don't do enough thinking or planning around conservation of some of the items that we've got at Mapperton. In an ideal world, we would be taking out all of the books there and looking at their binders and making sure that we were doing appropriate things to stop any decay or problems. With the furniture as well, there's a lot of furniture at Mapperton that ideally would have more done to it, but it's, we could be spending an absolutely vast sum of money doing this. I think what we do is reasonable, which is to identify things that look like they're and particularly with my mother, who's still very much involved, going around and identifying items of furniture that need some conservation work and getting going with that. But Julie, increasingly, I hope, is going to get involved. And the other thing is, of course, tapestries.
Yes. So we're just going to share the mic here. So tapestries are a big, I think, to-do list for me. So I think once we get the pool, which is going to be a long project, but once we get the pool completely to the state that we are happy with and it's natural, I will be moving on to tapestries. There's two. There's one in the West Room, and that's been cut up by the Victorians, and there's also one in the dining room. And as far as I'm aware, and your mother did tell me that I was right. Well, she's the one who told me, actually, is that they've never been cleaned really properly before. But there's just so much repair that needs to be done, and the place to take them, of course, would be to go to Belgium. But you can sometimes look at getting people in. We can look at grant schemes. But when people come in alongside that grant scheme to repair them, a lot of times you'll have to have them on show, if you like. When I visited Doddington Hall, they got a huge grant scheme for their tapestries to be repaired. And it took months, and the people who were working on it were in one of their rooms, and the public could walk by and watch what they're doing. So our tapestries aren't as big as the ones at Doddington, so I don't know. But it's on, I mean, in my lifetime and quite soon, like in the next 2 years, I'd like to have that project work.
I have a slightly different view to Julie on this, which is that the honest truth is that our tapestries aren't very good.
Yes, they are.
And they're probably not worth the restoration.
They are.
But anyway.
No, they're going to be restored.
Okay.
They are.
We probably get much better tapestries buying them for the same money that we would spend restoring them.
No.
But she might be right.
Yeah,
anyway, these days, we want to be preserving and restoring everything rather than getting new things.
So why don't you answer Lisa's question?
Okay, Lisa has asked, can we do another episode about secret places at Mapperton? Lisa, absolutely, we could do that. It's a great idea. Let's add it to the list. What we do is we keep a list of ideas for episodes and for scenes. And if any of you ever have thoughts about things,
there's already
just send us your ideas, and it will go into the list. The way we're doing the episodes now is we're trying to have one kind of main item and then two shorter ones. So there's always 3 different things going on. But sometimes, as with this week's episode that's coming up on previous restoration projects at Mapperton, we will just devote a whole episode to one topic.
You've all seen. Yeah.
I'm quite excited because in about 10 days, we're going to be filming another episode at Mapperton, which is going to be Tim Connor, who is a very venerable historian, talking to my parents about his new book on Mapperton, which they are all really proud of, and goes into a lot more historical background for the village and the surroundings. So that will probably be a good sequence as well.
Yeah. So this is a really good, Sally, first and foremost, Jennifer, I'm going to go to yours next. How did the Snowdrop Sunday go today? Well, brilliant. So brilliant that Charlotte had to text me and ask if I could post something on the Mapperton Estate Instagram, because they were so busy in the cafe that she didn't have time to do. I don't know what the covers were at the end, but at 2:00,
Do you know what?
there were a lot. I was just going to look.
live.
And while he looks live, Jennifer, that is such a fantastic idea. I didn't ever think that anybody would be interested in that, but I could do, you're right, a well-being day, and we could do yoga through the screen, yoga. Then we could do some type of craft where we let you know beforehand what materials you would need. Before that, we could also do a recipe as well. So everybody can kind of make their own Buddha bowl, and we could get Emma involved in that, who is our cafe manager, and Poppy, but they're the ones who make the Buddha bowls. And we could send you a list of ingredients that you would need. That's such a brilliant idea. And we could still do a sound bath, maybe a little bit shorter, but like a sound bath meditation. That is I didn't even think about that. So definitely, Jennifer, I'm going to put that on my list. That is a great idea.
It's
Great.
funny. One of the really
Great idea.
One of the really fun things about doing this is that all of you come up with great suggestions.
Yeah,
for
that
things.
was really great idea.
Isn't that a really good one?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's good. And you
It's
well,
really brilliant.
so I've just been looking because we've got an online system that tracks numbers. It doesn't tell me exactly how many people bought tickets for today, but it tells me that in the cafe we had 157 covers, which is great. So I think that's that means we probably had 150 people, 150, 200 people, which is pretty good. Which means there are a lot of people really eager to get out into the countryside and see snowdrops.
Yeah, does that? What was there? Was it £5 a ticket or something like that? I can't remember.
Yes, it's not. It's sort of half price at this time of year.
At this time of year.
Yeah.
Good. Paula says online wellness day sounds fun. Lorraine said she would do that. Sally, you'd love to do that as well. Jody, look at this is well done, Jennifer. Brilliant. I think it's because I could get Emma involved, and we could get I could get a local crafter to come in and look at getting that, and then send out the list beforehand. Yeah, because everything it's really a great idea. And
we could set up a sort of multi-camera thing for it.
Even Christy said, excellent idea for an online event. Be fun. I want to do that.
So, anybody got any other questions? Julie, by the way, is
going live.
Is about to go live herself with American Viscountess Q&A on YouTube with
Dean's Court. William and Allie Hannum. And at 9:00 our time, so in 27 minutes. I'm about to go live on there. So if you're interested, you can just go to my YouTube, American Viscountess. And it's what we did is one of the agreements that when we go to these houses, we want to give them as much exposure as we possibly can. So of course they're getting great exposure through the Patreon platform. And also because you all, those of you who are patrons, get the episodes before they go out on YouTube, plus those of you in other tiers will get some behind the scenes. But also, we thought would be a great idea to do these live Q&As with the homeowners themselves. And they've turned out incredibly successul so far. So I'm going to be with Dean's Court today, and then how it will work in future is, for example, Rockingham Castle, which those of you who are American Viscountess patrons, you'll be getting that. Normally you would get it on a Saturday, but because we are meticulous with our editing, and it's really a big process to edit these. In particular, it's not like editing a vlog or these are shows, and they need to showcase and celebrate these historic houses in a beautiful edited way. So if you're American Viscountess patron, you will be getting that, I think, on Tuesday or Wednesday this week. So you'll still get it before patron, then before YouTube, and then moving forward, you'll get it every Saturday. It's just the first one. Like I just got sent my voiceover script tonight, and we just had to work out how we were going to edit it. So, but what we're doing moving forward to that is now after each house that I film at and after it airs on YouTube, then we'll be going live with the homeowners a week later. Because this was our pilot series, we just did the 3 in the row, but we will be doing it just now, the live Q&As after
at the end of
every
4 episodes,
4, 5, 6.
Because each house has.
Well, this one's gonna have 6.
6.
Because we have. That's why the editing's taking a while, because we had so much amazing footage that we couldn't cut it out. Okay. So this one's gonna have 6.
So I think in order to give Julie a little bit of time to grab a bite to eat before she goes live on YouTube, and we hope many of you will be there as well, we're probably going to say goodnight from here.
Yeah.
Until next time.
And thank you again, all, for your support. And I'm excited to obviously film for you this DIY pool guy.
Yeah, that's the exciting bit of news, isn't it? I'm going to give him a call tomorrow and talk about it and learn a lot more about natural pools.
This is exciting.
It's all about plant life and other aquatic life, and I think having fish nibbling all the little bits of algae.
Yeah, I'm happy to swim with
and
fish.
And maybe Julie's toes as well.
Just not sharks.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, thank you, everybody, and we're
Thanks,
glad it's a good time for chats. And we'll see you very, very soon. Bye.